Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel. And in today's episode, I've got a message for young people. And this is going to turn into a bit of a rant video, unfortunately. So if you are not a young person, if you are waiting for entrepreneurial e-commerce Black Friday stuff, tune in the next episode, because then we'll be talking more about that sort of stuff. But today I wanted to direct this pretty much at young people, because, and not all young people, I hasten to add. There's just a select few which I've come across over the past few weeks, and that my friends and family have come across in the last few weeks. That it just baffles me. This entitlement. This entitlement issue which we seem to have amongst the sort of early 20-year-olds right now. I honestly just I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like, as a young person, I understand. I've been there. Funnily enough, I've been there. I did the degree. I did, the 3 years at university. And I know what it's like when you come out of university and you think that you'll walk straight into a great paying job. But the reality is you won't. And that's because your expectation of walking into a great paying job is that throughout your sort of life so far to that point, everything has been pretty much spoon-fed to you. Even including the degree, yes, you might have to write your own dissertation, blah, 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 but largely, that you're told where to go, where to turn up to, what to read. It's all been made very, very easy for you. And then you come out of that environment thinking you're mint, you are so good at what you do that everybody should be lining up ready to pay you hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to do a job. Unfortunately, the real world of sort of work and business and whatever you choose to go into is not the same as doing a degree or education, unless you are then sort of going into be a teacher. You've spent so long in school, you then do a PGCE training thing and then go back into school as a teacher. That may be slightly different, although it's still different. Yeah. So where has this entitlement come from? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big advocate of that. You can be whatever you want to be in life. 100%. And I would be the first one to tell you that you could do whatever it is that you wanted. However, that doesn't mean that you can come straight out of university, get a £40,000 a year job and, start managing, groups of people. That isn't going to happen, because you've not put the work in. You've not done the time. You've not got the skills in order to, warrant either that pay or that position. And yet that is what I'm seeing amongst a lot of young people these days. I'm hearing, of people saying, oh, I'm going to make them pay me what I'm worth. I turned around and was like, what? You're going to make them pay you less? Because let's put this into perspective right now. Unless you have 3 years experience in a business, in a work environment, you pretty much don't deserve to be there. That is like I said, 3 years is sort of like the minimum benchmark these days for any sort of decent job. 3 years experience. So unless you don't, if you don't have 3 years experience, you should be biting the hand off whatever job opportunity comes your way at whatever pay is being offered. To put this into, and I don't want you to think, oh, it's all well and it's all fine for you, Dave. You run your own business, blah, blah, blah. I was in this position. I'd left university. I did a degree in history and politics. And all I knew was I no longer wanted a job in either history or politics. I didn't want to be a journalist. I didn't want to be a teacher. The journalist one is quite funny because now I sort of am a kind of online journalist, but I didn't want to be the traditional journalist. or publisher, whatever. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I've told the story before. I sort of fell into e-commerce and online stuff, sort of by accident. But to give you an idea, I was doing, I'd come straight out of university and I went into a job where I had no experience. I was very fortunate enough to be, given the chance, and I was paid, I think it was about £13,500 a year. After tax, I was not walking out with much more than £1,000 a month, which you might be listening to this right now and go, that's fucking terrible. You're giving away, 8 hours a day of your life for, for whatever. It was pretty much minimum wage for £13,000 a year. Yes, that is exactly what I did, because I had no business demanding more or expecting more money in an area which I had no experience in. And even if I, even if I'd done a business degree, I would know all the theory, but I'd have very little practical experience of running a business, of doing online stuff, and blah, blah. I mean, again, back when I was doing a degree, e-commerce was not a thing. You can now study e-commerce at university and online business. That wasn't a thing. So for me, like I said, I've been there. I've been in this position. And for people in that same position to now be sort of demanding £25,000 a year, £30,000 a year to be at the bottom rung of a ladder, it's almost backwards. You should almost be willing to pay them for experience, if that makes sense. The amount of value that you're going to get and learning in all that sort of stuff, you should be the one paying them, because they're the one who've given you a chance. And for people to turn around and go, they're going to pay me what I'm worth, the reality is, in that role, you ain't worth shit until you've actually got your hands dirty, put the hours in, and actually proven to people that you actually can do what it is that you think you can do. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you are worth shit. I'm not saying that. You definitely have self-worth, and that's very important to understand. My problem is with this entitlement. You can know deep down what your self-worth is, but you've got to be willing to put the time in, doing things that you don't want to do in order to grow. And that's the important piece. This reminds me of an interview that, with, I think it was Charles Bronson. And he was talking about some floods in Oxford, and there was a little kid who got his foot caught in a grate, and the water was rising, and it got to the point where the firefighters were trying to release his foot that was stuck, but eventually he drowned and died. And that's a very sad story. And you might be thinking, Dave, what the hell are you talking to? Why the hell are you telling this story? It's because Charles Bronson, and again, I'm not saying he should be a role model, but he made a very poignant point on this story. He said that I wouldn't have drowned because I would have told the firefighters to cut my foot off. He said, because sometimes you have to cut some of your old self away in order to grow, in order to thrive. And that is exactly the same, but in a different, you have to do what you don't really want to do in order to be where you want to be. It's the whole rule of entrepreneurship. You have to work like others won't, so one day you can live like others can't. It's the same thing. And that people want the end goal without the journey that leads them there. So if you're a young person watching this right now, I'm not telling you that you are worthless. That is absolutely not the message. The message is, don't rush. You are still, I'm still young. I'm still on the right side of 30, but ever increasingly not on the right side of 30, I hasten to add, but it's to the point where time is on your side, and it's about patience. Again, I've spoke about this so much. Patience, patience, patience. And I was guilty of it as well. You know, I'm incredibly impatient on a lot of things, but I also have to be patient for the long term. I have to know that the long-term goal will come good. I keep putting the work in. I keep making things happen. I keep creating stuff. I keep giving value that eventually I will get to the end goal of whatever. Well, my end goal will undoubtedly keep moving, but I will keep progressing down the road. And at the age of 21, 22, 23, you're only just getting started. You know nothing of, you know, the world in which you are operating largely. But you need to put yourself in a position where you're willing to learn. And in order to learn, you can't expect to be, you know, the best paid person in the world. And I think this again all boils down to everybody's trying to compete with Justin Bieber on Instagram or whoever, you know, Puff Daddy, because they're driving nice cars and going out to clubs and drinking champagne. Yeah, that's all well and good, but they are the outliers. They are the abnormalities. Look around you in your friend group and you will, or the people you went to school with, you probably still got them on social media, see where they're at, and you'll realize that actually you're all in a very similar boat. You might be working on different things, but the pattern is the same. You're all still incredibly young. You're all still working towards your own personal goals. The difference is you have to put the work in. It doesn't come easy. You're not entitled to fuck all. You have to put the work in. And it's as simple as that. And it's annoying me. The more people I see that I saw someone on TV the other day, they were 19 and described themselves as an entrepreneur. And then it turned out that they definitely weren't an entrepreneur, but they just thought the term was cool and something that they wanted to be. Listen, if you want to start a business at the age of 20, 21, I 100% think you should. Because if it goes wrong, you've got so little to lose and you'll learn a hell of a lot. But don't be one of those people who thinks it's going to be easy, that falls in love with the lifestyle, which starts living beyond their means in order to impress people they don't even know. There's this issue with young people at the minute where it is the entitlement issue, but it's also the expectation and how you look to others. It doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. Gary Vaynerchuk is a fantastic example of this. Nobody knew who Gary Vaynerchuk was until he was early 30s. And now look at him. He's like the person in business, especially on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Gary Vaynerchuk is basically the guy that people look up to in entrepreneurship. And in his 20s, he'll even tell you himself, he just learned shit. He was just getting heads down, hands dirty, making stuff happen and learning. He didn't have thousands of, social media followers. He wasn't earning, hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. He was learning the craft of now what you become. So I implore you, if you're like early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, you still have time. But I feel that if you expect that you're entitled to more than what you are, you're going to be disappointed. And then you're going to be unhappy because you're constantly going to be comparing yourself to others who are maybe further ahead down their career than you, probably older than you. Run your own race. Realize that there's a journey and you need to really love the journey. Whatever journey it is that you're on, if it's working for someone else, if it's starting your own thing, you have to love the journey, because if you don't love the journey, you've got a high chance of failing. You really, really do. Because if you don't love the journey, when times get hard, and they definitely will, you'll give up and you'll quit. And then you'll have to go back a few spaces and start again. And that will wind you up even more, that you're further back than you'll be further back than where you previously were. So young people, I implore you, just love the journey. realize that you don't know everything. Realize that you're not entitled to 25, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a year at the age of 21, 22, 23, 24. The ones who are at that level are anomalies. They have done something. They may have been running businesses since they were 15. There'll be a reason why they're at that level. They maybe started their own business, took on a load of investment, and that enabled them to get to the position they're in. They are not the normal. So bear that in mind. If you have any comments, questions, if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. I genuinely would. And then I'll reply to you and let you know why you're wrong. But yeah, this has been bugging me in my head for so long, and I know other people have covered this on YouTube, but I just wanted to throw my 2 cents at it. People ask me all the time, my thoughts on this, and like I said, my friends and family who've been telling me these stories are like, "Can you believe this? This person thinks that," and I'm just sort of head in hands, going, "I can't believe it." Like I said, for over 3 years, I started on about £13,500, and I think by year 3 I was maybe up to £14,500 a year salary. But I learned so much, and that's what enables me to do what I do now, because I spent 3 years learning what worked, what didn't. Yeah, I wasn't paid great, but I look back fondly of my time with that business because of where it's allowed me to get to. Just put the work in, man. With that said, if you've enjoyed this video, if you agree with me, hit that like button. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. Or hit the dislike button. I'm not really bothered. Share this video with someone who you think would benefit from hearing it. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Keep grinding, keep doing your thing, and trust me, it'll all come good in the end. It has to, right? With that said, I'll catch you in the next video. See you then.